Hey, Eleanor. The first thing I noticed on here is that you don't have a cover page. And I'm thinking that your teammates do have them. I can't remember who all is in your group. You need to have one. I want to suggest that you go back to last week and look at the problem solution sample that I provided, and that will show you what it needs to look like. Okay. What I want you to do is begin with a remarkable lead and ask your teammates for any suggestions that they may have. Some of them might have done well. I know I've had several who really wrote good leads. So hopefully they're kind of spread out in the class, but you need to grab the audience's attention, whoever the audience is. I'm not sure who it is. But another thing that I'm noticing in here is that when I looked up Dallas City Hall on your works cited, it's not there, at least not under that name. Remember, the reason that you have the in-text citations is to make it as easy as possible for your reader to go find where that source is. And this way, I have no idea where to find it. So make sure that whatever you have in the parentheses here is what is also on works cited. It looks like you were trying to put doesn't and not together, and which is a double negative, but you cannot use contractions. Okay, just like you can't use first person or second person pronouns, you can't use contractions. All right, getting here, you should state your two solutions at the beginning of your solutions and then say what needs to be done. So this is on what is this, homelessness. So who is going to solve or alleviate this problem? And then you would say, let's say it's the mayor of Dallas. You would say, if the mayor of Dallas would implement blah, 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 or the mayor of Dallas should implement blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah in order to alleviate the problem. Be sure to put that should word in there too. Okay, so it says remove, yeah, you've got to remove these commas. I think focus on more or free health care for homeless to fully support themselves. I think you're talking about housing and you're talking about food and shelter, by the way. But the fact that I said I think, that's not a good sign. You need to tell me what the mayor needs to do, or whoever needs to do. The city of Dallas should implement blah 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 blah. And then write what the two solutions are, and then the next paragraph would be on the first, would be about the first solution, and the second paragraph, which you don't have, but you should have a second paragraph, is about the second solution. Okay, so you're missing a paragraph there, or perhaps this could be put in, I don't know. You still need more information in your solutions, because just looking at the length, that's not going to convince me if I'm the mayor. Okay, over here, you're having so many, you shouldn't have this problem. Don't put the comma in there. Okay. This is a college class, and if y'all can't do that, I cannot pass you. So I sure would hate for you to not pass just because of formatting errors that you can't seem to get. I just think that you need to go over your lessons and your notes. So here we go. Here's your figure one. That's good. You skipped 4 lines. What I did is I took this. You actually had it as your very first source on Works Cited. We'll see it here in a minute. But rather than, because that's the only reason you used it is for the picture, I took the link, the URL, and I just pasted it there. Okay, and then I took that source off of your Works Cited. Okay, you've got 4 lines here. You missed, okay, yeah, you've got a problem with a comma here. It'll show you where it is. Let's see, right there. Yeah, let me explain why. Because some people just think naturally if you see a but or an and, there's going to be a comma there. There would be a comma or a semicolon if you don't have a conjunction. Well, let's just do this right here. If the words after the and make a complete sentence, that means it's got to have its own subject and its own predicate, then yes, because then that means by putting a comma and an and, you're saying I can remove the comma and the and, put a period, and then I can start this whole new sentence and I don't have to combine it. So basically, the reason that there is no comma there is it says, let's see, where did I say that? The implementations of housing for the homeless will not only get more people off of the streets, but provide a multitude of other positives. Okay, so the subject is implementation. What does it do? Get people off the streets and provide a multitude. See, there is no subject in between but and provide. So provide goes back to this. This is what, when you were in probably elementary school, your teacher said was a simple subject and a compound subject. Compound predicate. You have one subject, but compound predicates. So the subject's actually doing more than one thing. Okay, so just always check that. Okay, I'm just telling you to correct all these things here. I'm going to give you a screenshot, just a lot. This one here, Congressional Digest, I could not find. Yeah, this name is not under, yeah, the name is not in Works Cited. Then I put, because your figure 2 and you put figure 1 goes on the next page, then be sure when the dust settles and you know you're getting ready to turn it in, y'all are giving it one more go over, then make sure that you're telling the reader where to find the figures. And of course, these 3 all stay together. Now here, you need to put your URL, but you need to hit enter. You got to have 4, you've got to have 4 lines there. Okay, so in that case, I wouldn't put conclusion, that subheader there, and then have this on the next page. I would just hit enter and make sure it's all on the same page. Okay, you've already identified. Okay, so if you'll remember in your in-text citations, if you already say who the author is, then you just put the page number 684. I think that was the only page, or I'm sorry, 584. I don't have my readers on. So once the person's identified, if you quote anything from her in this paragraph, you just put page numbers. If there's no page numbers, you can put the name of the article or an abbreviated name for the article. On this, works cited goes to the top. Your works cited is not hanging indented. I think as far as, oh, by the way, this is the one I think I took this one out because it was just a URL that I needed. That's the one I took out. So you need to get all of this in hanging indent. Make sure that, I think you've got academic search complete, but just check it again. I think that Dallas City Hall, writers of the city, that's what you need to put it under, quotation mark, writers of the city. And there is no page number. So remember, they need to match exactly whatever you have in text. You got to match exactly here, and you weren't able to do that on some. Also, when you put the page numbers, pay special attention to the page range. I have people putting 2, and then I look at the source, and there is no page 2. That's not even in the range. So make sure you do it. If it doesn't have 1, okay, that's fine. See, this one only had 1, so I put 584. That's the only one that you could have gotten it from. But things like writers of the city, that does not have a page number. Okay, I would clean this up and go back to your solutions. 1 paragraph for each one of them. Make that very clear. I would clean all of this up, take out all contractions, first and second persons, but first of all, concentrate on putting specific examples in there. And also remember, only 40% of your paper can be from your sources. So I'm setting it so that you can see that when you put the readability, when you go into the plagiarism thing, the safe assign, it will tell you. And if it says 56%, you need to go back to the drawing board, because I will count off for that. So 40% is kind of high. 20% is way too low. I would hover between 30 and 40%. So let's say that you come back with 70% of it's from quotations. What you should go do is go back and paraphrase some of those things. You can still cite them, but just put them in your own words, but give credit to the author for the idea that you paraphrase. Okay, that is it.